Yeah, what is going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of From My Experience podcast. I am your host, Rob. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I did have a crazy day today. Maybe one day down the line, when I think it's funny enough and I get a couple of approvals, I will share this day with y'all because it's a lot. But I want to start by thanking you, our listeners, the people who are liking, sharing, following, subscribing. Thank you so much for continuing to support us. And thank you for continuing to support us by shopping with our affiliates, Garner's Garden, Acre, Gold, and Jot Forms. Don't forget that Linktree link is in the description. It is also on our Instagram page. And speaking of Instagram, FME_podcast. Please make sure you are following us, liking those things, and interact with the comments, man. We ask questions about recent episodes, and we just pick your brains about different things. So we definitely want to hear back from y'all. Now, today, ladies and gentlemen, we got a guest in the building. So, one thing that I'm very proud of when it comes to this podcast is outreach. And I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't figured it out yet, but I've had a couple people reach out wanting to be on the show, and that makes me feel good. So this good brother reached out to me. I took a look at his page and what he was doing and some of the things he has going on, and I was like, he's a perfect fit. And he is going to share his story with you all today. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm not even going to spoil it. I'm going to let him tell you. I'm going to let him do the talking. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Phil, the Blerd Explorer.
Thank you. You're so beautiful.
What is going on, man?
Not much. How you doing today?
Life is life. I'll be all right eventually. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good. For those who don't know, I'm Phil. I go by the Blerd Explorer. I'm a travel Instagrammer. My specialization is Black travel and also dealing with nerd, anime, comics, all that jazz, all that geek culture stuff.
How long have you been into the nerd life, man? Because I would say I'm light on the nerd stuff. I'm not as heavy into it as I was when I was a little younger, but I still get in my anime. I still follow quite a bit of pages. I'm more heavy on the gaming side of things.
True. Same. I would say, of course, back in the 90s, watched Dragon Ball, Pokemon.
Yeah.
But as you got older, especially during middle school, the early mid-2000s, you had to keep it on the DL. Like, you couldn't say that shit out loud. Or you would get roasted.
Yeah.
You get roasted. Of course, but when you got to college, like, I'm in college, nobody's gonna care.
Yeah.
It was like, but yeah, so that's what my thing. So for those who don't know, I wrote 2 books. I started a series called the Black Traveler's Guide ebook series. It's really just any typical travel guide, but it's really from a Black perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote 2 books. I wrote my first book back in 2020, and my second book I published this year in May 2021.
Nice. What inspired you? So let me go to the beginning of your journey.
Sure.
When did you realize, hey, I'm ready to travel, get out here and see the world?
I always wanted to do it as a kid myself, like especially seeing the travel channel, see the places people go to, see all the food and everything.
Yeah.
This is like before like internet days, where you go online and like look at pictures of food and stuff like that, right? And to be fair, I've been to Germany, but I was like 6 years old, so I don't remember much what happened there. So of course, I never count that.
Right.
But that was my first trip abroad. So, and for me at least, the only time I personally, at least growing up, the only time I ever heard of a Black person ever traveling abroad via a family member or friend, it was always through the military.
Yep.
Yeah. And would you say the same thing about you? Like.
Yeah, same thing, man. Most people I knew traveled because they were in the military. Yeah.
Right. Military, maybe it was like a business trip, but more often than not, it's always military. The reason I ever heard of a Black person going to say Japan or something like that.
Yep.
And of course, I always wanted to go to Japan because I was loved anime, but I didn't know how to get there. And so around my last semester of college, back in fall 2015, I was trying to, like, you're about to graduate college, trying to find a job, sending out resumes, nothing's coming around.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw an ad about my university's job board about teaching English in South Korea. So I said, all right, I'll check it out.
Wow.
And so a few months later, I said, okay. And I showed up in South Korea since May 2016. I've been here since.
Oh wow! So you you saw an opportunity, you took it, and you've been gone ever since.
Exactly. Exactly. I was gone. Man, I was trying to get out of South Carolina, man. Like there wasn't shit there. Like
Oh
I just
wow!
went,
I'm from South Carolina,
yeah, what part?
Spartanburg.
Okay, I'm in Blythewood near Columbia.
Okay, I went to Claflin down in Orangeburg. So
Okay, now Winthrop.
okay, okay, wow.
Okay,
My Carolina brethren. Yes, you were. I'm
yeah,
glad you said it. Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. Love it or hate it,
yeah.
South Carolina is just it ain't it. Green.
It
Shout
really
out
is.
to Greenville. Shout out to Charleston. But
Right.
yeah, I felt your
Like,
pains.
unless you're retiring, man, like this just really ain't South Carolina ain't it, man. Like North Carolina, you got something, but
Yeah.
South Carolina, nah, they ain't nothing. And funny enough, true story. I remember, I think it was around 2016. My homeboy Jamal, he's good, like he was like a brother to me. He was telling me because we just finished college, we were trying to figure out what we're trying to do, and he decided to go to down to Florida to continue his craft about videography because he does video editing and stuff. And he was telling me how his dad was telling him, like, get the hell out of South Carolina. They ain't shit here. Go do something else. And now because of that, he left. Recently, he was the camera guy for Florida State University for the sports team.
Nice.
And now he's up at Virginia Tech. He just started a new job at Virginia Tech.
Nice.
Doing the same thing. So it's like, I mean, it's one of the scenarios like, I mean, there's nothing wrong. I believe it's this. There's nothing wrong being proud of your hometown, your home state, but sometimes go live somewhere else. Like, go do other shit. You know?
Just travel,
And
go live elsewhere.
later.
Yeah, because I'm
Exactly.
in the DMV area now, man. I dipped out of there, and I've been loving it ever since because I love the exposure. But
Right.
back to your experience. So,
Yeah.
what were some of the thoughts going through your head? Were you nervous about being a black man in South Korea? Like, were you worried about the
Oh,
language barriers?
Oh, very, of course. Like, especially like, I mean, compared to like moving to the city or state, that's a different type of nerves. I moved to another country,
Right.
another continent, so it's like extra nerves. Like, wondering like things, how am I gonna pay? What's food like? Apartments,
Yeah.
housing, all that, all those things. Like, but times 10, especially for a hard language like Korean. Now, learning how to read Korean is much easier than it is to speak. So it's much easier to learn the alphabet because actually it's actually a fascinating history behind it. Like the king, Sejong, like who founded the language of Hangul, Korean, the alphabet at least.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to design a language to make sure everyone could learn how to read. So it's possible to learn how to read Korean, but just trying to speak it, that's a whole nother ballpark.
So okay, so you're still teaching English?
Yes, I've been mostly working what we call Hagwons or private after-school English academies.
Okay.
They're for-profit versions like Sylvan Learning Center, like those tutoring places. So that's what I did for most of the years, and I switched over. And I'm still upset about this though, but I got my first public school job back in January 2020, and I got the job offer back then because I was about to quit a terrible job. I'm pretty sure I was gonna get fired, so I decided, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just bounce just in case.
Yeah.
And I was excited too. I'm like, oh shit, I got a new city, new job, new city. 2020 is gonna be the year. It's gonna be that year. And then of course it was that year, but in a bad way.
Yeah. COVID did a lot.
Oh, it fucked me up. Like, it's funny enough. Like, I moved to Incheon, which is the third largest city near capital Seoul.
Okay.
In the northwest part of Korea, and my job, I didn't teach for a whole year at my school at the job. Sheesh. It was interesting because I worked at like English center type of place in a public school, so it's not your traditional elementary school type of lesson, I guess you could say.
Right.
We never opened up because of the pandemic, and I never got to keep my job, unfortunately. Like, I just basically was stuck at home for like 8 months.
So how did you survive? You had money saved up? Did the country do something for the citizens?
No. So I still got paid, but I got 7% of my salary as per requirement by the Korean law. So I still got paid, but it wasn't as much I was making before. And of course, that hurt me a lot. And it kind of taught me the unfortunate lesson I should have learned by now. Like, I should save my money.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like I'll be honest, like, even pre-COVID days, like, because here when I teach South Korea, one of the benefits is you don't pay rent in South Korea.
Nice.
As if you work at a teacher. So honestly, as you can imagine, when you got to pay no rent, all you got to pay is utilities, and that's it. It's easy to blow your money. Like, You think, I'm out of money. I got paid in like 2 days. I'll be fine.
Right. Yeah.
But then when COVID came around, I was like, okay, it's like, oh shit, I really gotta start doing better.
Yeah, you definitely need the budget, man. So,
Yeah.
how much? Where I'm gonna take this? How much of the blurred life
Mhm.
and blurred experience are you getting in Korea? Because I don't know much about Korea. I would think that Japan is
Mhm.
the place, but I don't know. Never been there.
Yeah.
So, are you still getting some of those experiences you thought you were getting? Some of the ones you were talking about, kind of like how you were growing up.
Yeah, anyway, sure. I'm part of the Super Smash Bros. Scene here in Korea,
Oh,
and also
okay.
I've been to the Pokemon tournaments here. Now, South Korea never really had a Smash Bros. Scene. I mean, you might find people who had like Smash 4 on the Wii U, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't until Nintendo Switch came out and Smash Ultimate came out that's when the scene blew up. Like that's when we started seeing more events, more tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
which I miss dearly. And pretty much the main tournaments, the events were in Seoul. And so I said, okay, I'm gonna start a tournament scene in Daegu, which is like the fourth largest city. And I chose that I started picking up because and I had other both natives, expats, and other Koreans who came to the tournaments who were happy
Nice.
about it. It wasn't as big. I didn't have that much numbers as Seoul, but at the same time, it's like, hey, it's more. And everybody told me this is much cheaper than going to Seoul because it's like it's basically like you're going from a small town to it's like you for going from Spartanburg to Columbia for a weekend trip. That costs a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a nice grip. So you
Yeah,
brought game. So you brought the gaming scene to where you are.
in the way it was at the time, yes.
Yeah, cool.
And I understand that was back in 2019, and of course, understandably, it's on hiatus for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm pretty sure I won't be able to bring it back because again, there's no way knows when we're able to do those type of events. And I also participated for the first time while in Korea. I went to the Pokemon Sun and Moon like 3DS Pokemon tournaments. Like I
Mm-hmm.
never done that before in America. And I went to the Pokemon Sword and Shield tournament. The first one, the very first one of the game, was in December 2019, and it had both events, all the events. I had a great time. Met some friends. I was a really good friend of mine, Rachel. I met her. We've been
Mm-hmm.
great friends since. It was great. It was a great time. Meet people, play some battles, get some food, go home. And then that was the only off. That was the first and only offline Pokemon tournament that's ever happened in Korea since then. There has
Wow.
been any, yeah, because this was December 2019.
Yeah.
The next one I think was supposed to be around February or March, if I remember from previous experiences.
Hmm.
And of course, I was excited for that, but of course, we know what happened, why that got canceled.
Yeah, so you brought up a good point, and actually it
Yeah,
brings me to my next question because you
sure.
said part of your focus is to get more Black people to want to travel, and
Mhm.
you hit the nail on the head with one of the things you just said. I think one of the things that makes us apprehensive about traveling is
Mhm.
some of those barriers like language, money, food, but also like people.
Right.
But y'all got to
Right.
remember that people around the world do the same things we do here in America. Like
Yep.
if you're a gamer, if
Exactly.
you're a motorcycler, if you're a rock climber, if you're a jogger, if you're a
Yep.
biker, those scenes exist around the entire world. And one of the
Exactly.
things you could do, I would recommend before I pass it back over to you is do your
Sure.
research. Like if you want to travel somewhere, see if they have an event or something going on around some of your interests. That way at a bare minimum, you're going to be
Mhm.
around some like-minded people, and you'll probably find some Americans there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed for sure. I also think the big reason why now, of course, we saw like during the mid 2010s, we saw a lot more black travel content creators.
Yeah.
Now, my reason I'm more focused on black travel is because we lack representation in travel space, travel and tourism space. Like when you look at YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, most of the travel content creators are usually from a white perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and I always say is usually they have some great content creators, they have some great stuff, but when it comes to travel, the darker you are, you're gonna have a more different experience. Like that's just straight up fact. Like, especially when it comes to Asia, like an example, like if you go to China, Korea, Japan, Thailand. Let me just go. Like, all foreigners get stared at. Like it happens to everybody. But the level of stare is intensified the darker you are.
Mm.
Like, it's just, and I put this in my books. Like for black people, you will receive more stares than a white person. It's all out of curiosity.
Yeah, because they're not used to seeing you.
Yeah, they're not used to it. No, exactly. Even in the big capital area, like it's not. Well, okay, Seoul not too bad because you got a lot of expats there. But when you get outside the bigger city and more less you see less expats, then you're gonna get more looks. It's just that fascination is like, oh my god, somebody's different because again, Korea, like most Asian countries, they're homogenous. Everybody looks the same.
Right.
So you just want to prepare for that, but at the same time, it's like you can prepare, but sometimes it's not gonna be enough.
Yeah, you're right. Because I mean, as black people, we already don't like people staring at us, like what you looking at. But
Yeah.
y'all, that's the other thing people need. We got to realize and know, and you can do this through research, y'all. You got to remember, America. Everybody of every race, nation, creed is here. Like when you go to the
Yep.
mall, you gonna see every color, complexion, height, weight, illness, all that
Yep.
stuff, everything. But a lot of other countries just aren't like that. Like everybody looks
No,
the
they're not.
same. Everybody looks the same, and there's a lot of uniformity too. Do you notice a lot of
Yep.
uniformity around where you are? Like as far as like even just the way people travel, walk down the street, clothes they wear.
Oh, very. Because again, most kind of like America, where we're so individualism, where it's like all about me, 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 right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Asia, many Asian countries, probably Africa too, probably is more collective. It's all about the community, all about the people. We try to make sure everybody helps each other. Like it's all about the family, about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like for instance, like Korea, most Koreans they won't talk to a foreigner. Like you know how in America is like one thing I learned while living abroad. Like Americans, we are infamous for like our small talk. We'll talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We'll talk to anybody, and of course, like it's one of those jokes online. It's like, how do you spot in America? Them talking. Somebody talks to you and smiling.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially when we're nervous.
Yeah,
Definitely gonna
yeah,
strike up a
exactly.
conversation. All
Yeah,
right, I got a little bit of a challenge for you. Then I want you to talk about
for
your
sure,
books. Okay.
for sure.
So tell me something good, bad, and ugly about your traveling experiences.
Mm, good. Uh, good experiences made me appreciate and show me my privilege as from what being from a Western nation. Bad. I guess my case, my visa expiring, and I almost got kicked out of the country.
Yeah, tell that story.
And ugly. Uh, going to the Philippines, but not preparing. Make sure I have my cards ready, my money ready. So that was my fault.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the bad story about the visa. So this is when I started my previous job called Andong. I started that job back in September 2019, and my visa expired back in September 29th, I would say,
Okay.
2019, right? So with immigration, every time you start a new job, you gotta go report it, right?
Right.
That's how it works. But now previous jobs, usually when I started, about usually in the first week or two, I will go to immigration with the employer. But during my time there, from September through December, my employer she never took me to immigration not once. Now, of course, now to be clear, you are responsible for updating your visas.
Right.
Like when it comes to travel or working, make sure you're always on top of that. Yes, the employer is sponsoring you. They do have to they need to watch it too, but at the same time, you're still responsible. But anyway, I was going to Thailand for New Year's vacation back in around the last week of December 2019. I got to the airport and I find out my visa expired by 3 months. Yeah. So thankfully the airport guys, this is at the check-in counter,
Mm-hmm.
but thankfully they did let me leave so I can go home and go to immigration to take the paperwork. I
Nice.
got to immigration the following day, and the immigration officer was being such an asshole. But I know he's just faking it because he's like, he's basically that asshole. Is like, oh, I got the power to fuck you up,
Yeah.
so I get to be the smart. I can be the asshole. I can play the asshole. So I ended up paying almost $1,000 fine. Yeah.
Oh
And I had to use my next paycheck. Like, okay, so my plan was when I got to, so I go into immigration. I think the following day was on a Monday, right? I was supposed to get paid that following Tuesday.
no! Yeah.
But my boss sent me that paycheck early, so I could pay the fine. I ended up paying $800, and my boss paid the rest of it, $200. Yeah. And of course, at that time, I realized, okay, I was like, if my boss, if she wasn't doing her due diligence, just make sure her employees are on top of the visa, then that means you don't care. Now, of course, of course, I'm responsible. It's my fault. I got in a situation for it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you're sponsoring my visa. You could get in a lot of trouble for this shit.
Yeah.
So I said, so that's why I decided to say, okay, I'm gonna start looking for another job. And I thought at the time things could not possibly get any worse.
Mm-hmm.
So quit that job to go to Incheon at the elementary school. And of course, we know what happened. Few weeks later, in January 2020, March 2020, we all know what happened next.
Yeah. Jeez, man. Damn. Well, I'm
Yeah. So
glad.
one thing to know: when you're traveling or working abroad, stay on top of your visa. Stay on top of that shit. Don't play with that.
Yeah.
Do not play with that.
Yeah.
And also, I think living abroad has shown me, it's really, really shown me what people, both legal and illegal document workers, people who come to America, I finally understand what's the struggle, what's like to deal with immigration.
Yeah. Ooh.
Like doing the paperwork, make sure you got all your documents, hoping to God you don't get that one asshole of an immigration employee, or hoping having a good day, not having a bad day, because it could really mess your things up.
Dang. That. Oof.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you made it through that situation and you're here.
Yes,
that could have turned out crazy. God, $800.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still feeling that. Even though I didn't pay it, I feel like I did. The way you just told that story.
Yeah.
Whoo. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. I only got a couple more questions for you.
Sure. No, please.
One, tell us about both of your books.
So my two books, the first book was written during COVID, during last summer, called The Black Traveler's Guide to Incheon, Incheon. It came, and The Black Traveler's Guide to Daegu, which was open, Daegu, Daegu, which came out this year, May 2021. Both books is more one of those scenarios like, instead of complaining and hoping and wishing that somebody will make this type of travel content, I figure, why don't I try it?
Nice.
And it's like, okay, it's one of those scenarios, instead of like complaining and whining, it's like, okay, I'll just do it my damn self. Like,
yeah, kind of like how my podcast is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I decided to give it a shot. Now, the first book, of course, is more of a test run. See these two books, they're more kind of trial run. See if there's kind of demand for this type of content, if people really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so far, I have positive feedback. People are definitely interested. So I'm definitely going to probably mostly continue this side hustle when it's safe to travel.
Ooh, okay. Dope. Which book was easier for you to write, the first one or the second one?
I think the second one, in some instance, because it's more like, probably just like for you, for example, like when you start your first podcast, you know what you're doing. This is your first time.
Facts.
But then when later on, as you got better with the episodes, like, okay, I know what to do, how to do better, what can I do better this time, things I want to try to do better, what to improve, what to fix. And so that's what I did. Of course, at the same time, now I spent a very limited amount of time in Daegu because I didn't live there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I only went when the cases were low, when it was safe enough to travel to travel.
Gotcha.
To the city to do research. So,
gotcha.
You know, I did my due diligence, had to be careful, had to plan my timing.
Nice.
And so my next plan, I actually plan to write about a book about South Korea as a whole.
Okay.
My original plan next week and the following week, I was supposed to go to multiple cities to start research, but because of very recent high case numbers at the time of recording, I had to lay low. I got to lay low, choose one city to stay with for now.
Yeah, I pray that you stay safe over there, man. Because they're starting to talk about this quote unquote Delta variant of COVID. I teach too, so I'm going to school. I'll go back to work in about 2 weeks from the date of this recording, y'all. I don't know when y'all gonna hear this, but right now it is early August. But yeah, I'm worried. I mean, I'm fully vaccinated. I got fully vaccinated because where I live, I teach kids and I'm around people from all around the world. Like when my kids say they're not coming back for 2 weeks, it's because they're going to another country and then coming back. So I'm like, all right, I didn't want to get vaccinated, but I'm like, my level of potential exposure is too high for me not to. So I did.
Right. No, I got you. Now the vaccine rollout began this year, I would say early this year for Korea. Of course, like Project America, only medical professionals and and elderly people went first. Now, this time now, teachers like me, like we public school teachers particularly, we got it's our term. So I got my first dose of the Pfizer back in July 30th.
Okay.
I'm getting my next one in the coming 2 weeks.
Did you have any symptoms?
No, for me personally, aside from a sore arm, that's about it.
Yeah, I had a
Now,
sore
just to
arm and
clear,
drowsiness. And I was hungry
yeah, I
as
didn't have that
hell,
problem.
man. Like, like I've been ravenous, dude. But other than that, just the drowsiness and just being really hungry. That's all I got. And the sore arm for sure. It's still sore. I just got
Yeah,
mine Tuesday this week, so it's still sore.
nah, so I'm good right now. Just to be clear, pretty much listening. Symptoms vary from person to person, so don't
Yeah.
take my word for it, of course, please. I'm not a medical expert.
Yeah, y'all. It's different for everybody. Like my mom is a senior citizen. She got both of hers, and she said she had zero symptoms. She said her arm wasn't even sore. I was like, let me get some of your let me get some of
Yeah.
your good juju over here, mom. Last question I got for you, man.
Sure.
What are your future plans? One, as far as relocation, if you want to relocate, and two, do you ever plan to come back to America?
Me? No, I don't plan on moving back to the US anytime soon. Um, I just love the idea now. It's like, now that I lived abroad, it's like, I could literally go anywhere else in the world. Like, why should I stay in one place for the rest of my life, Of course, I'll come back to visit family and such, but it's one of the scenarios like, when you had a taste of something, it's like, there's something better.
Yep.
It's like, why do you want to go back to this? Like, for example, it's like, okay, you have, I don't know, Five Guys or Whataburger, right?
Yeah.
You eat that, it's like, why do I want to go back to McDonald's or Burger King? Like, this is something better.
Yeah. I can feel you on that. What about next moves as far as countries?
Countries now, I'm probably gonna say for the next few years right now. My goal right now, I guess you could say, is I see my opportunity right now. I teach in countryside elementary school right now, so I see the opportunity as a way to save a lot more money.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a pretty good gig, probably one of the best positions in teaching in Korea right now. So got a great school, kids love me, staff seems cool with me, so I'm out to ride this as long as I can, really.
Yeah. Hey, listen, ride it out. Trust me, my living
Yeah,
conditions are really good right now, and I plan on riding it out as long as I
exactly.
can, unless something
Exactly.
changes.
I'm out there, like, hey, take advantage of what you got right now, because especially now during COVID, it's like I probably won't find anything better right now after this, or if I leave right now.
Yeah. So stick with it, man. Thank you for joining me, man, and sharing your experience. Where can they find your book, and do you have any future projects coming anytime soon?
Yes. So, Black Trousers Guide to Incheon, Incheon, and Daegu, Daegu, Black Trousers Guide to Daegu. Both books are available now on Amazon, ebook formats only. If you want to see my adventures, follow me on Instagram at the Blerd Explorer. And if you ever got any questions about travel or whatnot, just DM me and I'll try to answer them.
I'll definitely put all of that stuff in the description, man. Thank you so much for joining us and reaching out. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your experience. You've actually sparked a little more interest in me getting out there and traveling, especially as a black man. And I definitely want to do that. So thank you again for joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for continuing to support the show. All of the information about where you can find Phil's books will be in the description. His Instagram will be in the description. And of course, our information will be in the description as well. Phil, you got any last parting words for the people?
If you want to travel, go where you want to go. Everyone's travel story is going to be different. So do what you want to do, all right? Have a good time. Be safe. Wash your hands. Get the vaccine. Peace.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, take care of yourselves physically, mentally, financially, and we will catch y'all next time. Peace.